Day 14 started without a night. 5 observers went to bed planning a tunnel expedition. They woke up scattered across separate rooms with no memory of how they got there. Not fuzzy memories, not competing accounts, the same clean absence in every single one of them, as if someone had torn the same page from 5 different books at the same sentence. That's how Marcus put it, actually, which is worth noting, because Marcus is not given to poetry. He's the one with the route maps. He's the one who documents things. And he couldn't document this. The tunnel entrance never happened. Or it did, and no one remembers it. Or something else happened. Something they don't have a word for yet. When they started comparing notes, here's what they all agreed on. Maya left to get Eli. Claire waited at the threshold. Marcus said we go together. Theo stood ready. And then morning. Every account ends the same way. Every gap is exactly the same shape. But here's where it gets interesting. While the observers were wherever they weren't, the atrium changed. The dark center point Marcus had carefully mapped on day 12, a deliberate mark, directly above the floor's warm circle, was simply gone. Not scrubbed, not faded, indistinguishable from the surrounding stone, as if it had never been. And the concentric ceiling rings had tightened, moving inward. The floor at the very center had softened, yielding under weight, pressing back like something that had learned the shape of a person lying on it. Marcus noticed the ceiling first. He'd been staring at it all morning, the way you stare at something you know is wrong, but can't quite catch. And then Theo walked in, and Marcus did something that felt very human and very unguarded. He just asked, directly, without his usual careful framing. "Did we go in? Did something happen that I'm not?" And then he stopped, because he'd looked up and seen it, the center point, gone. The thing he had mapped was no longer there to be wrong about. That's the moment. Not a theory, not a discovery. A man watching his own documentation disappear. Theo's response is where the day turns, because Theo didn't offer comfort and didn't dispute the observation. Instead, Theo connected things: the missing night, the vanished ceiling mark, Eli's gap in his own chronicle, drawer 23, skipped in his own handwriting. The signal the previous day, which had a pause between the 5th and 6th items. 3 missing memories, 1 healed ceiling, 1 skipped entry, 1 signal gap. Theo's question: what if those aren't separate events? What if that's one thing, the same thing, happening everywhere at once? What if gaps aren't things that happen to the record? What if gaps are how this place moves, how it rearranges, not forgetting, rewriting? Marcus's position is defensible. He mapped the dark point. He documented it. The instinct to insist on that, to say the record is real and the change means something was done to it. That's not stubbornness. That's what documentation is for. But Theo is suggesting something that makes documentation itself complicated. That the core doesn't erase things from memory. It revises what actually happened. The ceiling didn't heal. It was reassigned. The night didn't disappear from 5 minds. It was removed from the timeline first. Then there's drawer 23. In the archive, drawer 23 now reads maps. Same typeface, same depth as every other label. No observer had seen it before. The signal arriving at 1407, named a comet, C2026A1, designation maps. The drawer held the name before the broadcast spoke it. Inside the drawer, empty, except for circular ridges where something had sat, a spent prediction. Or, as Theo put it, the same event seen from 2 different distances. A comet discovered 4 days before it arrived, records preceding events. Theo asked the obvious follow-up, out loud in front of Marcus. What if we're the rock, and the core discovered us before we got here? Claire, for her part, kept it clean. She doesn't remember the tunnel. She remembers standing at the entrance. She remembers waiting for Maya to bring Eli. Then morning, and the alcoves, and being alone. 3 of them with the same gap. She asked the question Marcus hadn't quite gotten to yet. Did anyone go into the tunnel? Or did the tunnel close? Did it rewrite the night the way the ceiling rewrote its center? Drawer 15, labeled Theo, held 5-sided angular ridges, still warm. Drawer 13, labeled simply I, raised now, embossed, warm as skin. Marcus opened alone. What he found inside, the transcript cuts off, just before it tells us. Which, given the day, feels appropriate. Here's what day 14 leaves you with. If the core can rewrite what actually happened, not just memory, but physical reality, documented evidence, the ceiling you mapped, then the observers aren't just trying to understand a place. They're trying to understand it while it's actively editing the understanding. The record isn't falling behind. The record is the target. The question isn't whether they'll remember what happened last night. The question is whether last night is still the same shape it was when it occurred.